Thumbs, where are they? Okay. How many of you are taking 430 tomorrow? Biochem. How many students? Biochem? 4 more. Okay. Any other exams tomorrow? Okay. Fine. Fine. Let's go ahead and start. You're familiar with the drill. Questions and answers. Questions at least. I don't know about the answers, but let's give it a shot. You want to start with the digestive system? Just so we'll have to in order. Go ahead. Long and short reflexes. So everything basically is reflexes when it comes to the viscera, right? When we talk about autonomic reflexes, the outcomes. Basically, what we're trying to say is that we have an internal system that is regulated by our brain, but at the same time can act independently. If you think about the heart, we learn about the cardiovascular system, right? No, we master the heart. We learn that the heart can do a lot of things by itself, with pacemaker cells, with we talked about cardiac output and how we can have intrinsic mechanisms, right? Blood flow, increased venous return, increases the EDV and so on and so forth. This happens without the brain. However, if we want to increase the heart rate, the brain can tell the heart increase the heart rate because of blood pressure or what have you, right? Same thing goes for the digestive system, basically. So what we have is the enteric nervous system, which is a local system running that show, okay? But we also have long reflexes when we have interactions. Signals going from the digestive system, we focus more on the stomach, but it's not just the stomach, but from the stomach all the way to the brain. For example, what happens in the gastric phase when we eat? Give me an example of a signal that goes, the nature of the signal that goes all the way to the central nervous system. What happens to the stomach? We start to eat, gastric phase. That's helpful. We eat. What happens to the stomach? Expands, right? It expands. So what we have are receptors that are stretching on the walls of the stomach, and that sends signals, hey, we are having food here. Now we have a local reflex response to that in the enteric nervous system. But at the same time, it also goes to the central nervous system, to the medulla oblongata, when we have centers, and then we'll go back and say the outcomes, okay, secrete more gastrin, secrete more HCl, and so on and so forth. That's basically the idea.
Is the enteric nervous system the sympathetic or parasympathetic?
I am cautious about putting it under any of these. It really depends. There will be some that put it under the parasympathetic, but others that will just put it aside. If you look at the slide that I gave you, I actually completely detached it from the autonomic nervous system just for that. Just because it's separated in that sense, as well as it's both sensory, right, and motor. While we're talking about the parasympathetic versus sympathetic, we're talking about a motor output. Any other questions around this? There.
I don't know if it's on this, but can you talk about how the regulation of gastric emptying is
Okay, gastric emptying and gastric activity. This is an example. I repeated that in class and in my office. I highly recommend you to try not to memorize, but use your logic here. Sometimes logic does work, and sometimes this example, I know I'm using the same metaphor, but I really think it's perfectly matches what we see here. And that's the metaphor of factory or an assembly line is product from another factory. And you want to ask yourself, if you're in the intestine, what would you like to do? Okay? And if I'm in the intestine, that means during the intestinal phase, I'm going to be bombarded by a product coming from the previous assembly line. Previous assembly line is what? Stomach, right? Sending me the product being partially digested kind. Food with all the gastric juices. I need to work with that. I need to complete the digestion. I need to absorb. I need to do a lot of things. I need some time. So if everything is cool and I can handle the product, I'll continue with my work. But if there's too much, for example, too much acidity, the acidity is too high, the pH is too low, I can't handle this. I need to neutralize all of this, but it just keep coming out. So what do I say? I'm shouting, right? Not really shouting, but what I'm doing with the endocrine system, I'm telling the stomach, hey guys, could you please make a little bit less acidic environment, right? Because I cannot handle it here, as well as could you release it at a slower rate? I'm not going to close it down, but I'm going to do it at a slower rate. I asked you in the study guide a question, I think it was a study guide, a question about what's the main effect, what's the main target they think we are going to use here? Who am I going to talk with? The stomach is a big organ, but which target in the stomach am I going to say, could you slow down with the emptying? What should I use as the target effector?
Pyloric sphincter.
Pyloric sphincter, right? I'm going to tell the pyloric sphincter, contract. That's very easy, I know how to do that. That's EPSPs, IPSPs, everything that we learned, I'm going to say slow down. And then we'll have less squeezing out of gastric juices. At the same time, the same signals coming here, telling the stomach, slow down with anything, slow down with gastric juices, are going to do what here in my assembly line, in the intestine? Do I want to promote intestinal work? I want to do that, right? Because I need to work. So what do? I work with the same hormones, right? CCK, secretin, these are the two that we focused on just as an example. They're not the only ones. I'm going to say, give me more bile, give me more pancreatic juices, because they help me here. I'm slowing down the precursor, I'm stimulating the work here. That's the idea.
How does the vagus nerve go into the gastric secretion? If it's
Vagus nerve is the nerve controlling, responsible for both sensory as well as the autonomic regulation of basically all our viscera. Not just our viscera, there's some skeletal muscles in the neck, but all our viscera, including the heart, including the liver, including all the digestive system. So everything that will have to do with gastric juices that has to do with the long reflexes involves the vagus nerve.
so without it, you can still secrete the gastric.
So yes, exactly. So without it, you can still secrete it, just like the heart can still beat and regulate and everything, but at a limited level. So if you cut the vagus nerve, you die from so many reasons, but if you just imagine you cut the vagus nerve affecting the digestive system, just that part, right, then you will not be able, when you see the pizza after you're really hungry, it will have no impact. It will have an impact on your stomach. You will want to eat more, but it will have no effect on your stomach or digestive system because you cut that cord. Sorry? The ENS again will always work, but the ENS doesn't get any signals about seeing pizza. That's cerebral cortex, right? You're seeing pizza, you're saying, oh, this is really yummy, I'm hungry. My hunger center is being stimulated now, right? The hunger center will be still stimulated. You will want to do that, but there will not be any secretion beyond what the normal stomach is doing. Will you be able to digest, to absorb? Of course, but not as efficiently. That's the story.
So there are four different acid secretions that are focused about the gastric phase. We need to know the details of those four mechanisms.
What do you mean mechanisms? What
So
type of
like,
mechanisms?
they talk about how like vagus nerve stimulation will cause acetylcholine to affect the parietal cells to increase acid secretion. So do we need to know those, like, in the book they outline four specific.
Just what I asked you in the GRQs, basically. Again, readings, assigned readings. If you know your GRQs, you know your assigned readings, basically.
Are you saying that the cephalic phase will be affected if the vagus nerve is?
The vagus nerve is carrying this, not just, right? Can you give me an example of, so Sarah was asking about the cephalic phase. The cephalic phase will definitely be
Like, can you
affected because you're getting all the signals from the central nerve. Can you think about an impact the vagus nerve has on the gastric phase? It has to do with an example I already gave today. What happens, as we said, if we eat gastric phase? What happens to the stomach? Right? The signals go, you'll have local reflexes, they will work, but kind of like a bonus, right? You're going and talking with the center in the medulla. That goes to the vagus nerve. That's a sensory part. Sorry?
Like, you can't tell when you're full.
not be able to tell when you're full to your brain, again to the lower part of your brain. You will still do that at the lower level, but you will not be as efficient. You will not increase the secretion as you should have.
So just to confirm, you're saying that the vagus nerve helps the gastric phase by allowing you to continue the stomach extension? I'm a little confused about like.
The vagus nerve basically is your smartphone, if you will, from the stomach, from the small intestine, from any part of the digestive system, to the brain, and back sensory as well as autonomic. In this case, mainly parasympathetic. Okay? If you cut it, you're left with the local reflexes. You will not die. And you will digest, but you will not be as efficient as local plus long reflexes.
So I came in late, but I think you're saying the target of gastric emptying is the pyloric region, so sphincter. So does that like include the pacemaking cells?
It will also, that will be another target because again, it affects gastric activity. Not as much as secreting acidity and so on, but yeah, also affect anything in the stomach. The main one, of course, will be pylorus.
Would you consider metabolism to be part of digestion or separate?
Digestion, I know what you're asking me. Rickets. Digestion will be the same as I defined digestion in one of the very first slides in the digestive system. I will stick to that. Any classification, any description of anything, not in biology, right? Not just in anatomy physiology, there's a consensus, and also in some cases you'll find some different things, how people textbooks and so on define. We talk about what we define, especially this is one of the reasons why sometimes I define specific processes, so we'll talk about the same language. I mentioned, for example, in the GRQ, I think, I'm almost sure that I wrote about this, that when we say the GI tract, right? Some people call the GI tract this, and some will call it that. Some will call it only the lower parts of the GI tract, some will call it the esophagus as part of the GI tract. I discussed the esophagus as part of the GI tract, some other textbooks do not. It's not that I'm right and they are wrong, or they are right and I'm wrong. It's just an issue of how you classify things. What about those rickets? Okay, let's continue. Digestive system, I'm sure you have more questions. Yes, Ken?
The negative feedback in the intestinal phase, what do we need to know about that? It's the book mentions that we need to know about.
So,
The
mention.
negative feedback mechanism in the intestinal phase that stops acid secretion, what do we need to know about that?
That it stops acid secretion.
For lipids being digested and absorbed, I'm a little confused about the order of when it becomes a chylomicron versus when it's like packaged as a lipoprotein and where.
Chylomicrons are lipoproteins.
Oh.
So lipoproteins is a name for anything that is a package composed, a body composed of lipids together with proteins. Okay? LDL is a lipoprotein, HDL, VLDL, and so on and so forth. Chylomicrons are.
So does that happen?
Chylomicrons are the ones, this happens in the packaging inside the absorptive cell, in the enterocytes. So after you get those lipids, you are remaking actually triglycerides. You broke them down earlier on, now you're remaking and repackaging the triglycerides, put them in a coat that is a very proteinous coat, and from there they continue to the interstitial fluid and to the, help me? These are the chylomicrons. They are the very first structure, I say, of lipids coming from your digestive system into your blood.
Got it, thank you.
Yeah, the liver it will be different, it will be LDL, but we didn't talk about that. So. We can move on to another system, that's all very fine, and then you come back if you need. Yeah.
I was gonna ask about autoregulation, because there were two slides that had me confused, because one of them seemed to indicate that afferent arterioles, constrict the systemic, blood pressure is too low, and then the following slide said that.
So what's the difference? What's the difference between the two slides? Both of them are right. Anyone wants to help? The difference, we're jumping into the urinary system, assume, right? We're talking about the afferent arteriole and the afferent arteriole in the nephron. So why in one case?
One is talking about systemic blood pressure, and one is talking about glomerular filtration rate.
Well, in both cases, we are mentioning both of them will be affected by systemic or affect the systemic here.
So the first one, when you dilate it, you're increasing the local pressure to the kidney, and then, so the systemic lacks from that, so the systemic's more important for like brain function, so when you wanna increase that, you constrict the local.
The issue is that basically we're talking about the systemic is always the systemic, and the GFR is always the GFR. The issue is that we have two different responses depending on the conditions and depending on the systemic blood pressure in the window. We talked about a window between 90 and 180 millimeters of mercury. That's a huge window of blood pressure, systemic blood pressure. In that window, if this is a systemic blood pressure and it fluctuates going too low, too high, we can take care of homeostasis of systemic blood pressure in so many ways while still keeping a constant GFR. How do we do that? By either dilating or constricting, depending on the case, of the afferent arteriole. Right? Kind of like correcting the low or the high systemic blood pressure. This has a local effect. We're bringing the local back into the regular GFR of 108 liters per day. Okay? The second slide about this was what happens if we are crossing the red flags, the borders, when it's no more 90, it's below 90 or it's above 180. Okay? And now it's systemic pressure. So far in that window, the body, you can think about it, was able to sacrifice. Why? Because it had other routes to compensate for the sake of keeping the kidneys happy, keeping the GFR because it's important to division of waste and so on and so forth. At some point, just too big of an impact on the systemic blood pressure, I cannot handle it in other ways. So with all due respect to GFR, we change the priorities. The priority is the one that changes between slide 1 and slide 2. That's the idea. Make sense?
So I know that reabsorption takes place in the PCTs. So like, what is the point of the
We'll do that. We'll do that.
Okay.
Glomerulus.
glomerulus?
If I can do that, everyone can do that. Yes. The rural glomerulus. Rural is the worst for me, I have to say. So again, what's the question about the reabsorption?
So the PCTs.
The glomerulus responsible for what? What happens in the glomerulus? What process, big picture wise?
Filtration.
It's filtration. This is where we remove the stuff from the blood and into the tubules. Okay? And then leaving the glomerulus, we have blood that runs in the peritubular capillaries that is very poor in water and in all the solids. So what we want to do is we're going to put back in that same blood, in the precapillaries, the stuff that we want to bring back. And that happens in the proximal tubules, in the PCTs. Yes.
Going back to the blood pressure question, we talked about how if it gets too, the systemic blood pressure, if it gets too low, the sympathetic and the adrenal medulla release epinephrine and norepinephrine.
If it's too low, if it's crossing that line.
What happens if it's too high? I remember talking like the parasympathetic.
Great, so let's talk about the second example. Okay, that's great, we can practice that. So, let's say the systemic gone up, okay? And now it's reaching, it's going up, but it's still in that window, first of all. So what will happen to the afferent arteriole?
They'll constrict.
It will constrict because the systemic goes up, then we'll have more blood coming into the nephron, too much, we don't want that, we want to keep that, right? About 54 millimeters of mercury, so it will constrict. How would that constriction affect the systemic? Will it increase it or decrease it?
Decrease it.
Increase it. We'll learn something this semester, right? Blood pressure system. Great. So increase it, but we're good because maybe we are going to dilate something else, or maybe we're going to lower the heart rate, or maybe we're going to do so many other things. But if it goes too high, then which one is going to come in? The parasympathetic is going to start working, and we're going to dilate the vessels, including the afferent arteriole. So now we got too much blood into the nephron. That will affect the GFR, but the systemic is the sympathetic nervous system is more important. Not the sympathetic, sorry, the systemic system is more important.
Well, I'm just wondering because I know it's with sympathetic, it's epinephrine, norepinephrine. Is it this, what neurotransmitters?
Oh, you need to know, come on, parasympathetic.
SVO.
Yeah, exactly. So, I will not ask you about questions about the cardiovascular system, but I see the call. Should be, yes.
Going back to the digestive system, I know that the liver is responsible for digesting fats. But what is his role in, for instance, or what are the other roles of the liver in terms of digestion?
Everything you learn about this, don't try to okay, let's leave it aside. The liver has all the roles that we read in the assigned readings. Okay?
There's a question in the back of the one that says filtration is ATP related. I guess that's wrong. If it was reabsorption, would it be true?
If it was reabsorption, so if you didn't have anyone ask about a question about true false, was that in the practice exam? Oh, somewhere about the glomerular filtration, is that AP driven? And the answer is no, right? We emphasize this is just mechanical, it's something like that. Not something like that, it's just the only thing. But yeah, if the question was about reabsorption, it's ATP driven, right? Because it's a secondary active transport for some. Some of them are passive, but reabsorption as a whole has to have ATP. Yes.
What is the what happens in the new series? Because you talk about how in collecting graphs, when you have like ADH or Boston, there's the digestion of performance and sodium
Mhm.
does that also affect what you see?
So yeah, ADH affected this piece, it's not as major of a player as in the collecting fats, but it does. Aldosterone, when it comes to the sodium pumps, that's a target with UCTs. And the other thing that happens in UCTs that we did not discuss at all is we're part, not all, but part of the secretion processes. So we mentioned just briefly that secretion is an active process when we want to get rid of stuff to the urine because we have excess hydrogen ions. We want to regulate pH, for example, potassium or something. Part of this, not all, but part of this will take place in UCTs.
What is B12 important for?
B12 important for your life, basically. It's important for the development of the nervous system, but that's in very early embryogenesis. It's essential for red blood cells. That's one of the reasons why you can get anemia if you have a lower level of B12. It's essential basically for synthesis of nucleic acid. It's required for those of you who take 430 tomorrow. I don't know if you guys learn about this methionine, homocysteine. You guys talk? Great. So that's B12 and folic acid. But B12 is very important. So metabolic pathways in amino acids, in the synthesis of amino acids, and synthesis of nucleic acid, essential, basically. Yeah.
So if you have increased extracellular fluid osmolality, is the first response going to be the secret, like more ADH, or is it going to be the thirst?
Okay. Again, sorry. If you have a higher osmolality,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, is the first response going to be the increase in ADH and all of that stuff, or are you going to get thirsty first and then want to control?
I wouldn't say it's the first response. It's a long-term response of ADH. There's so many things that are going to happen. You might, if it's a specific ion that you have excess of, you might throw it through secretion into the urine, for example, and that might work. But what's important right now for our sake is basically, yes, it's one of those solutions, main solutions that we'll have. Urinary.
Can I go back to the digestive question?
Yeah, sure.
How does, like, eating more fats delay the gastric emptying?
Okay, excellent question. How does eating more fat delays the rate of gastric emptying? Do we digest fat in the stomach? No. So how come fat makes it's a different? And it is true. The more fatty your food is, your what you eat, the more fat you have in what you eat right now, it will take more time in the stomach. So how come? What's working here? Anyone wants to? Em, go ahead. So what happens with the CCK? CCK is indeed the agent. But coming from where? CCK is what?
So it takes longer for lipids to be processed by the small intestine. congestion, so then the intestinal phase slows gastric emptying.
Exactly, so it's not the issue that the stomach needs more time, it's the small intestine that needs more time, because it takes more time just to digest and to absorb lipids. So because of that, and because of the intestinal phase, you'll need more time to process lipids in the small intestine, which means there will be more CCK, increased concentration, that will say slow down gastric emptying, we're not ready for you yet, compared to a situation where you just ate, let's say, carbohydrates. You just ate fruit even with the fiber. Okay, let alone something like a pastry and Coke and soda, right? So that goes immediately to the stomach, goes into the small intestine, break it, absorb it, no problem at all. Lipid, they need more time. So they're gonna slow down gastric activity, they're gonna slow down gastric emptying, which means the stomach will work for more time. Okay? And I think I mentioned that myth about fruit on empty stomach. Did I mention that? Okay. Not for the example, just. Yes.
Going back to urinary,
Yeah.
what composes the filtration?
The filtration membrane, first of all, think about what do we need to filter stuff from. So we have the blood, right? So you in the blood, you're a glucose molecule in the blood. You're going to be filtrated out, right? Filtered, I guess, out. So what's the first thing you need to pass? You're inside, you're running with the blood. You're about to be removed from there. What's the first wall you're going to hit? How do we call those cells? I need you to know this. Endothelial cells, right? Of the capillaries. So that's of the capillaries of the glomerulus, right? But then beyond that, normally that will be it, right? But beyond that, we actually, and you read about it, we did talk about it in class, we have these amazing podocytes. Okay? How many of you have seen The Matrix? That's it? Seriously? The Matrix, seriously, okay. I always forget how we call this. How do we call those machines, the bad machines that are having those arms? And you remember what I'm talking about? Those that run after the submarines and kind of like try to penetrate. Do you remember? So they all look like those arms that go tentacles, that go over the place. That's exactly how the podocytes look. So if I'm look at my hands right now, my cup would be, sure, perfect. Okay, so if I'm invoking in my cup, right, I have slits between my fingers. That's going to be part of the basement of the membrane, of the filter. So we have a little bit more filter or selection, but there's still pretty big slits. So that's mainly the filtration membrane. That's what they need to pass. It's not just endothelial cells. If they're too big to move in those slits, between those finger-like arms, then we will not be able to move.
And is that part of the Bozeman's capsule?
It really depends how you define it. I don't have a question about that, okay? You can just remove that line. You guys want to talk a bit about the respiratory system? We didn't have a chance to talk about it in class. Maybe questions about this? Anything? Surface tension? We all got that? Yes, Sierra.
So in the practice exam, it says upon inspiration, the pressure in the lungs increases. I think it's just like a wording thing. So yeah, the pressure will increase as you're inspiring. Are you talking about like before? Because the pressure's lower, that's like the gradient that pulls the air in.
Yeah. Let's make sure, yes, the pressure, you need to lower the pressure inside the alveoli in order for inspiration to take place.
But during inspiration, the pressure in the lungs increases.
The pressure in the lung increases because you put more air into the lungs. Can you show me that exactly, the sentence? Yeah, that's a lame question. I don't clear exactly what I'm talking about. Sorry. It's better than most of the questions in the exam, it's still. Yeah.
You said that the alveoli, the elasticity, tends to pull it inward, but also the surface tension within the alveoli also pulls it inward. So if there's too much surface tension, it can also make it collapse.
Exactly. But we're talking about surface tension in the alveoli, in the room. That's very different, right? There are two surface tensions that we mentioned in the voice rate, and that's critical. Where's the other one? In the cavity, right? That's essential, right? If you take two plates of glass, right, and you put them together, you can easily separate them. You just put a thin film, a little bit of water, and just dry. You can do this all the time as much as you want, but it's very hard to separate those. If you want to separate, what would you put inside? Air or soap. Okay, so you can break surface tension by basically adding a detergent, and that's exactly what happens in the alveoli. So the idea this is the cavity, and of course the cavity is much, much, much thinner. It's really important that it will be thin. I have a bit of layer of water here, and I have to have it because these are epithelial cells, they will dry out. You always do. In any cells, in our cells. I have this because I have epithelial cells here, the one where diffusion goes through, right? And this is the cavity, and this will have the water. Again, it's very thin. Actually, if it's thick, it will not work. Does it bother you? Okay, so we have the surface tension. The surface tension basically serves as a glue, right? We could have had alternatively adhesion proteins that would just take the alveoli. This is the lungs, the alveoli, and this will be the diaphragm and the muscles. Okay? Now, basically, what we cannot do, we want to change the volume. That's the whole secret. We want to change the volume because if you change the volume, you change the pressure, inversion. If we could just inflate or deflate, but we cannot do that. This is not a muscle, and we don't want to add muscles and so on. We just want a very thin layer of epithelial cells for efficient diffusion. So what do? Think about it as this is the room, Wilson 107, right? What do? It's like, imagine a big balloon here. I cannot change the balloon, I cannot pump water in or out, air in or out. So what do? I attach it to the walls and the ceilings and the floor. And in this case, I can actually contract the walls, the ceiling, and the floor. So I'm going to change this, and when I expand it by contraction of the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles, the lung will come along because it's glued. Now it's not going to be glued with adhesion proteins because I do still need it to be able to move. And this is why I'm just putting that water, and that's just the surface tension. But inside, I also have a problem because that also creates surface tension. Surface tension drives the molecules to go smaller. So the surface tension here drives it this way. So, how do we solve this? We add soap. That's the surfactant. Right, and this is what we do here. And this is one of the things that can happen quite a lot. Surfactant is basically synthesized in the later stages of pregnancy in the embryo. I don't remember exactly the week, but it's in the later stages. So if there's a premature birth, especially if it's planned, that means the embryo will not have surfactant. Now, if you know this for sure because that's a pregnancy, you'll actually inject surfactant. It works. If not, you put in special care, and what you're going to do is you're actually going to put a machine in that will, like a balloon, push air in and out because there's no surfactant in the lung of the embryo, or not the embryo. The young infant will basically collapse if you don't just put air until you have enough surfactant, and that works.
I have a question about the reproductive system.
Yeah,
so
let's move reproductive system.
We talked about how there's the whole early follicular phase that happens a year before.
Let's call it folliculogenesis, just not to confuse it with the follicular phase of the ovarian cycle.
Okay, so the
folliculogenesis
happens a year,
about a
starts a year before the actual follicular phase and luteal phase. So the cells would start producing estrogen as soon as they had the granulosa and fecal cells.
Yep.
So they would start inhibiting FSH and LH initially.
Yes. However, at this point, when they're still a young, early follicle, there's not a lot of estrogen.
Right.
So it's inhibiting, but not strongly. It becomes much more massive as we go into the follicular phase, and now we have the big guy, the big follicle secreting a lot of estrogen.
Okay, so then when the estrogen increases and like really inhibits FSH and LH, why do we do that? Because I thought that the next round of racers would still be going through the folliculogenesis.
The folliculogenesis, the early folliculogenesis is not affected by FSH though. They don't have FSH receptors.
So they're
You can
not-
put as much FSH as you want or no FSH. The early folliculogenesis is not regulated by FSH and LH. Any of these. These are autocrine and paracrine hormones, a signal, sorry, that we did not discuss. But it's not, it's all local. It has nothing to do with FSH. FSH is only starting in that it's not exactly the 14 days, but let's make it simple, in the 14 days of the follicular phase. So the beginning of the follicular phase.
So then why is it important to inhibit FSH and LH? during-
Because what you want, again, I'm using the metaphor of the race.
Right.
And there's a 100-meter race, right? And you want to have 80-meter race. That was the first early follicular. It took a year. Those are very slow runners, okay? So they ran. 80 meters, you only have now 4, 5, maybe 6 competitors.
Right.
Now you want to go for the finish, but you don't want the other ones this specific month to join in the race as somehow already in. So you have FSH, and that will help the winner to win, okay? But it's going to be blocked because you don't want anything to start in the back until you're done with this month.
So are the late folliculogenesis molecules, are they already becoming receptive to FSH, and that's what you're inhibiting?
That will happen in the beginning of the race. Don't mind too much the exact time when it happens. Just think about it as early follicular phase. We're starting with response to FSH. Think about it just simply, again, I know it's a bit more complicated than that, but think about it simply as we have a pre-race, if you will, and in that pre-race we lost a lot, okay? The qualifying, okay? Races, and then at the end we have now 6, 5, 6, maybe 4 pre-antral follicles. They are now starting the race. That's FSH. That's the cycle that we are so familiar with. The only thing we need to remember, and that was what I wanted to introduce to you because it's not common knowledge, is the fact that we didn't really start here. Right? It's again kind of like the Olympics, right? It's not, or the World Cup, or whatever that is. The NCAA, right? It's not just the 64. We had a few hundred basketball teams. Before that, they lost. Now we're talking about the 64. That's the NCAA tournament.
Is it low estrogen for lipids?
Low and also increasing until you reach a specific threshold. It's not just low. It's low, 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 higher, higher, higher. Boom, you reach a threshold. It starts to stimulate. Yes.
How does an embryo secreting HCG, which is LH-like, secreting that to keep the corpus luteum?
Yes.
And that's it, like.
Yes, so for those who missed that, the embryo is basically secreting the HCG, LH-like, and that basically keeps the corpus luteum alive, so the corpus luteum can continue to secrete what? Progesterone, and that's important for not just implantation, but continuing implantation until the placenta will take over. And that's also important for what? What else do we need progesterone for? Inhibit the new cycle, because that's, we're done. We have our embryo, we have our pregnancy. For the next 9 months, we don't want any more LH, FSH, or any of that sort.
So when the cells in the current cycle are in like the follicular phase, the cells for the next cycle are going through like the growth and selection of the antral phase, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you say that FSH and LH respond like oppositely to estrogen? Because
No, I wouldn't say that. FSH and LH actually respond basically the same. Now, we focused on the